Monday. Hello, everybody. Sound check. We're all here. We're in the house. Okay. Everybody's probably fighting with a mic stand. Oh my god. Wait, I put the time. I put the right time. I said 5. What time did I put? Let me see. Maybe there was a confusion around the time. Let me see what it said originally. I thought I put 5. So you don't want to be booking a flight when you're also creating a live stream. Let's see. Okay, let's see. What time did I put? I put originally 5 o'clock, I thought. Time did I schedule? Okay, because I want to get into a couple of things because I just, this Monday has been really interesting. It's been a really interesting Monday, I would have to say. I'd have to say. Let me see when my Rumble was set for. Okay, because I want to get into 6:14. What? This Monday has been really interesting. That's weird. Oh, it says Los Angeles. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, I'm here. You can watch the playback. But let's see. Oh, there's like noise in the background. So I have some fun clips today. Happy 9/11. I'm remembering it always, sort of thing. We have to pay attention. We have to be vigilant and care about, the future of our people and the hyper-normalization that is the day. Sorry, you guys, if the timing was off. I thought I put it for the right time. I was like, oh, I'll be right on time. That's weird. But so I got a few clips. We're gonna start off with definitely checking in with our with our border guard, the lovely Kamala, because over the weekend she was celebrating the R&B holiday party or 50th anniversary of R&B or something stupid like that. It's just ridiculous stuff. Hey guys, 6:45 Eastern, 3:45. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I thought I put the right time. God. And you were right, John, about the mic stand. I have to get a new cable for this thing. This mic is going to be the end of me. Somebody put a down vote. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Okay. So I don't know if you guys are up on what happened with the whole governor of New Mexico situation. That was awesome. Like, so awesome that she's just decided to completely ignore the Constitution. That was like great, of New Mexico. Like, and I need to make a whole video of it because it's like, what are we talking about? So that was, that was me just spending all of my time filled with rage about that. Here we go. Where's the... Let me pull up the article. We could look at it. Just... Why? Why? I don't know. It just is. It is, and it's what needed to happen, I guess. We needed someone who was going to ensure that we didn't have rights, that we're not like sticking to those rights. Like, I don't want all of those rights. Like, I'm tired. I'm so tired of rights. Aren't you guys getting tired of it? I know I am. Let me publish. Here we go. It's a little cut off, but the New Mexico governor's temporary ban on carrying guns in public. And guess what? It met with resistance and bipartisan resistance. Yes, emergency order issued by New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, suspending the right to carry firearms in public and around the Albuquerque, are getting pushback from gun rights advocates and some law enforcement officials and elected leaders. So there was some children who unfortunately were not able to continue their life. And so she decided that a good way to fix this was to put a 30-day ban on open carry. Okay. Oh, and concealed carry too. Oh my God. Oh, and then she cites there's been a 43% increase in gun deaths. So, yeah, that has nothing to do with, maybe dangerous borders or anything like that. And Jericho called it anger blood. But yeah, so I thought this story, obviously, rage-filled, so awesome. But the part that I think that is really amazing, and we're going to get to this Axios in a second. The part that I think was really amazing was Michael Knowles and his response. Where's his thing? Where's Mr. Knowles? I don't know. Let me see. I can find it in my thing, my beautiful Twitter account. It's like way down here. Because it's just like, oh, and then this one is pretty awesome. Like, they did a protest, which is, duh, you need to do that. You need to definitely stand against it. Let's see, where is Mr. Knowles? Where he is doubling down. He's definitely doubling down. You guys, I've been spending a lot of time on, here we go, Michael J. Knowles, that's why. I'm not going to find. Okay, so Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, ex-pronounced Twitter. It was a good compliance test. I'm glad it's meeting opposition. Yeah, I'm definitely glad it's meeting opposition. So Michael Knowles decided that he was going to come on and do the good conservative thing and let people know that civil leaders do in fact have emergency authority to suspend temporarily many legal rights. Well, why didn't you say that? That's so convenient. Like, what's the problem then? So, what's the problem? We need to use this as a way to get rid of all these emergency health orders. Yeah, we definitely do. The emergency health orders need to go away. And someone has said, oh no, you actually don't have that right to do that, to just suspend those things. But unfortunately, Mr. Knowles, he's decided, oh my God, he's decided that it's just okay. It's just fine. It's fine to go along with it. Yeah. I just don't, and also I don't understand why he's such a big advocate for this. It's like, would you just stop? I like when he just says, like, you should just have money. Unpub rights can be temporarily suspended. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe he's just like doubling down on this. It's like, well, then what's the point? The tyranny of emergencies. Exactly. What's the point of having rights if they can just decide to take them away temporarily? Oh, it's temporary. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not inconveniencing me at all. That's not at all inconveniencing me. Like, what's the problem? It's just temporary. And also, this is the thing that I just don't get. No, this is the thing that I don't get. Is who decides what's temporary? You know, who decides those things? How do you get to decide that, oh, this is temporary, it's not an inconvenience, it's fine? Who? How? And also, how do you get to temporarily take away rights that you can't grant or control at all because you didn't grant them, so you don't control them. So how do you get to temporarily take them away from people who don't want them taken away? Oh my God. This is hilarious. The road to hell is paved with people saying relax. Trust me, bro. It's cool. Yeah. Oh, he went to Yale. Oh, well, that makes him the arbiter of truth then. He understands. He gets it. Oh, that's a great point. Remember when Nixon temporarily suspended the redeeming of the dollar as a reserve currency? That was just a temporary. That was so temporary, you guys. That was just like, that just happened. Like, fine, it's over now. It's over now. Calm down. But no, yeah, that's where I have a disconnect. I don't really understand how people can control things that you don't control it. So how do you get to, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And it's really disheartening to see because this is the part of the conservative side. Again, he wants to take people back to the 1950s. He wants us, he even said recently, let me go back to the article. He even said recently that he wants to go back to the 950s, actually. If the exception came from within the law, it would not be a true exception, which is the founder's point. A good and strangely timed example is the compromise, constitutional basis for compromise. Oh, God. Oh, a strict observance of the written laws is doubtless one of the high duties of a good citizen, but is not the highest. The laws of necessity or self-preservation of saving our country when in danger are of a higher obligation. So what does that have to do with, what does that have to do with taking away people's right to self-defense? It doesn't make sense at all. At all. It's literally just being someone who is complicit with tyranny. That's all it is. Where did this come from? Yeah, exactly. Whites are bestowed by God, not government. So, and if you're going to take the stance that it's fine if they temporarily do this, what about it's fine if they just temporarily removed you from all of your property? Or they temporarily removed you from having control of your family or your children? It's just temporary. It's the problem? It's temporary in that it's only like 2-3, decades maybe. This it's completely. The Constitution proclaims negative rights. It doesn't prescribe positive one. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to pull up. Let's look up the negative rights. Let's see. A negative right restrains other persons or governments by limiting their actions toward or against the right holder. Positive rights provide the right holder with a claim against another person or the state for some good service or treatment. Okay. From limiting their actions toward or against another. So basically it's telling what they cannot do. Yeah. Alabama Policy Institute. Yeah, this is that's a good topic to go over because a lot of people have no idea what that is. A lot of people don't. It's pretty difficult for them to track. But the New Mexico governor is wrong to exercise emergency powers to curtail the Second Amendment, not because she lacks emergency power to curtail or even suspend rights, but because the particular circumstance does not constitute such an emergency. And again, how does he know? How does anybody know? It's just up to whatever they decide. And also, who decides? They're like, oh, well, it makes logical sense that. No, it doesn't make logical sense. It's if they decide that it's justified, then if they can do it, then why not? They justified it. I'm just really concerned. I'm really concerned about this because I'm really concerned about this for multiple reasons. One, because these are the people who are supposed to be pushing and influencing and having a voice and being the poster of freedom and prosperity and liberty and all of these things, and then they double down and want to come back and say that, oh, it's okay sometimes if they steal your rights, it's fine. It's fine if they steal your rights when it's justified. Pretty sure they can make a lot of justifications. Why are we even entertaining it? My thing is this, why would you even entertain it? Why? Why would you need to entertain it? What's the purpose? What's the advantage to say, oh, I'm being a good little boy or girl. I'm following the rules. Well, if we find the rule is not correct, then you can just rewrite it. Someone wrote it to begin with. Oh, yeah. Stalin wrote a Bill of Rights too. Yeah. Anybody can write anything. This whole idea of constraining yourself to, oh, someone wrote it in the past, like, what does that have to do with anything? So I get high, I write a bunch of nonsense, or what seemed at the time like makes sense. For example, I wrote a bunch of stuff down, and then 300 years later, that nonsense is like now legitimized magically. No, I can't deal with that. I'm sorry. The Constitution constrains government, but the Bill of Rights is not foolproof. It was a compromise of the Articles of Confederation. Yes, a republic if you can keep it. Why did Benjamin Franklin say if you can keep it? Exactly. Well, when they have rules that say they can do something, just take away your rights whenever they decide, and they can arbitrarily decide what temporarily means. Like, that means it's meaningless. People hear things and it provides a sense of comfort for them, but ultimately they have to know this is meaningless. It means nothing. Them saying it's temporary, it means nothing. Temporary to what extent? Like, there's no boundaries. There's no discussion. There's no voting on it. It's just, oh, they have the right to do it. Yeah, the Constitution is handcuffs on the government. But it's okay. They wrote down that they can suspend powers and rights. Oh, how convenient. How convenient is that the government is going to come in and say, oh, by the way, when we decide, we can go ahead and suspend all of these things if we want to because, emergency. Ooh, scary. No. 2 weeks to slow the spread. Yes, I love this. 2 weeks to slow the spread. The beta test, of course. But how could it be connected? There's no way it's connected. You're such a conspiracy theorist. Oh, God. It's so pathetic. It's like truly embarrassing. Truly embarrassing. I mean, she could have just said, oh, we're just taking away your rights. We're suspending them. But then she added on, oh, but it's temporary. It's temporary. And then people are like, oh, well, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine now. It's fine. Just go ahead and do that. It's fine. No, it's not fine. It's not okay. It's not okay. We can't have this. But luckily, again, people are, non-compliant. But it's just, again, very disturbing to see that someone like Michael Knowles with all his followers, and he's just, he's just he's part of the Daily Wire, and they're just so conservative, and they just want freedom, and But they're justifying this ridiculousness. It's so depressing. Which brings up a tweet that I really liked from Maria that she posted. And I think a couple people saw as well. But I'm going to bring it up. Let me zoom in. Okay, here we go. The left makes the moves and the right reacts. Both sides orbit the same issues and offer different aspects of the same solutions. Solutions that ultimately never work without both a free market and moral and educated citizenry. And, they're going constantly reinforcing and going off of each other. And unfortunately, the right is constantly just reinforcing whatever ridiculousnly that the left is trying to push. They're doing it through so many different ways, through normalization, through, just actually posting these things and talking about these things and saying, look at all these people doing these things. That's normalizing things. That's highlighting them. That's making them seem normal. And again, people don't do what's right and wrong. They do what society dictates to them. They're not thinking with any great depth. They're not analyzing, oh, is this behavior going to be right or wrong? No, it's normal. It might hurt me. I'm fully aware it might hurt me, but it's normal, so I'm just going to go along with it. Just going to go along with that. So seeing this in action is really disturbing to me, to see that we have these conservatives pushing this ridiculous justification when he could be talking about so many other things. So many other things he could be spending his time talking about. How we could practice non-compliance. What are the strategies people can do to make sure this doesn't become bigger than it is? Because again, who just said that? I forgot who said it. Eddie said it. This is a pilot program. This is a pilot. This is to get people to see, okay, oh, they're going to just suspend these rights and these rights temporarily. It's okay. And then slowly, it happens more and more in frequency. And it becomes just a normal thing that happens. Funny how that works out. It's almost as if they understand human behavior and how to not cause, huge backlash or alarm. Because if you do things in a slow enough movement, a slow enough creep, it sort of goes under the radar and people don't really notice. Communism creates fascism. Oh, I'm so sick of those words. I swear, I read that so many times. I'm hating. There's a lot of words that I started to hate recently because you just see them so much. 2 weeks to slow the spread, the beta test. So yeah, anyone who was smart and understood things around social engineering and propaganda and all of those things, they wouldn't be highlighting and giving people justification for why it's okay. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be helping people rationalize and agree with certain things. Oh, well, it's okay. They have these rights. Okay, so if they do have these rights, why don't we just go ahead and take them away from them so they can never do that? How about that? How about that? That's a good solution. Oh, but they wrote it several hundred years ago. As if that magically lends legitimacy to something. I don't care. Yeah. If they only understood economics as well as human behavior, I know. But they're not going to do that because that would require them to be self-reflective, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to be self-reflective. They just want to know that they're right. They're right. Don't worry, they're right. They read in a book somewhere that they're right, so it's fine. And as long as they can stay right, then what's the problem? I can't. I'm just, I'm really jaded because this is a huge point of, where we can make a stand and really make a lot of impact before the narrative really picks up. But we're letting, again, these things just trickle away and just fade away. And then we wonder, oh, how did all this tyranny just automatically pop up? I don't understand what happened. It's like, well, when you had the chance, when it was the pilot program, you decided to ignore it and make justification for it as if it's not going to naturally lead to bigger and bigger things. But of course, they're the type of conservatives that don't believe in that. They don't believe in conspiracy theories. No, there's no conspiracies. You guys are just weird. Everything's fine. Yeah, too many people rather be right than correct. Good point. Yeah. So we can't let that happen. That's why it really needs to be that people are armed and understand how to combat these things at like a guerrilla, like tactical level individually, so that it doesn't just spin out of control. We can't just like abdicate all of our outrage and we can't just offsource or outsource all of our outrage to a few political commentators. No, that's not okay. Honestly, I'm very disgusted by it because it's really unfortunate. And he has to go ahead and make a whole entire show about it. Not, if you notice, the show is not going to be about why it's completely wrong. It's going to be justification for why it's right. Which makes me think these people, I'm not sure what agenda they're working toward, honestly. I don't know. But we'll see how it turns out. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I just feel like it's pathetic. It's truly pathetic. Truly, truly pathetic. Okay. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look at this Jon Stewart clip where he explains like gun rights and why we shouldn't have guns and all those great things. And because Jon Stewart is a really, really good propagandist in a sense that he is a great talking head. He's so good at delivering messages and giving all this justification for things, just letting everybody know. So I wanted to pull that up with him, and we can take a look at it and just break down all of his little narratives and why he's so good at this, because he is really good at it. He's really good at making you feel something. He's a great speaker. You don't spend decades on TV and just not become proficient. Let's just say that. That's just not how it works.
Want to ban drag show readings to children?
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Is that free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct,
Ooh,
yes.
burn.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
Okay. All right, there's so much happening there. There's so much happening there. Kids up to 20 years old, LOL. There's so much happening there. Now, obviously, he's creating this like false notion that, and they do this all the time, they don't actually debate what it is you're actually discussing, the core of the substance of the argument. They don't debate that. What they do is they deflect, and they always say, you don't care, okay? They say, you don't care about the kids. You don't care about this, you don't care about that. What about this and what about that? They always say, oh, you don't care about it. So because we're discussing one thing, that's like saying, oh, kids shouldn't be able to drink bleach, for example. They shouldn't be able to drink poison. Oh, you don't care? You don't care about the fact that the leading is that this and that? It's like, no, that has nothing to do with it. They're totally separate issues. You have to make sure you never fall for that, because they do it every single time. Like every single time without doubt. They assume that you don't care about a separate issue, and then they charge it up with, oh, they do this, they're unalived because of this and this, oh, how horrible in this. It's just, okay. Again, you're characterizing this person, you're demonizing this person strictly because they want to talk about a separate issue that is affecting them. Like, let's say that kids don't have school lunches. Does that mean if you discuss the need for children to have school lunches, then suddenly you don't care about kids and car accidents? That's not at all related. So they always deflect to that. Oh yeah, I'm anti-child autonomy. No, totally. It's so bad. It's never related. And then they use very charged language. They use it as a justification because they can't, again, justify what it is they're doing. All right? They can't justify why children need to go to drag shows. Like burlesque shows. Why should they not be exposed to burlesque shows? It has something to do with random excess deaths due to whatever, Tylenol? Like, what? It just, like, no, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, this is a good point. Jon Stewart can't prove that any legislation he might propose would keep all kids from accidentally, unaliving themselves. Parents are in charge of making that, yeah. Kids are little adults and property of the state. Yeah, we need to privatize care. Let's watch it again, because this is a really good example. This is a tactic they use all the time. Every single argument they use this tactic, I promise you.
to ban drag show readings to children.
To minors,
Why?
yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Is that free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
Deflect.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is
oh my God,
you don't mind
so
infringing
bad.
free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
Yes. No, you're totally right. This is definitely a classic. I know I do need pearls to be like, oh my God, kids die of this. No, this is definitely a classic straw man. So he's taking his argument and mischaracterizing it. Let me pull up the straw man definition so we can all like, let's all look at it. Because it's just so, it's used so many times because they don't have an argument that they can win, so they have to go with a different argument. Where is... Where is that browser? Oh, there we go. So here's the straw man. A straw man fallacy. Let me make this larger. I hate the way it cuts this off. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So the straw man fallacy, sometimes written as straw man, is the informal fallacy of refuting an argument different from the one actually under discussion while not recognizing or acknowledging the distinction. One who engages in this fallacy is said to be attacking a straw man. The typical straw man argument creates an illusion of having refuted or defeated an opponent's proposition through the covert replacement of it with a different proposition, i.e. stand up a straw man, and the subsequent refutation of that false argument instead of the opponent's proposition. Oh, and these are particularly used regarding highly charged emotional subjects. So if you remember, what was that propaganda website you used to pull up? Yeah, I'll pull it up in a second. But so if you remember, he takes the argument, he charges it. He's like, oh, what is the real leading cause of children being unalived? More than cancer. Oh, it's like, okay, what is it? This is not part of the argument. And because the guy is he's not being very charismatic or articulate in his sense, he doesn't really have the ability to act just like Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart is an actor, okay? And because he lacks that skill, he can't really, number one, he wasn't prepared to fight the straw man argument that he was proposing. And number two, he wasn't, let me see, where is that? He wasn't just even capable of doing it. So let me see. If you have to interrupt to make your point, you have no point. He's not they're never going to argue the substance of the argument. They're never going to argue the substance. They never are. Let me see. What is that website? What is that website? I have it in my... I have it in my browser where you just... So we have to do a really good job of being prepared for the straw man. That's their number one go-to when it comes to arguing against different things. They just charge it, they get it all emotional, and then they pretend like they're holier than thou and you're demonized, and they attack you if you don't immediately say, oh, well, you're right. It's so bad. And also, again, his solution is not a solution. You can't stop criminals from doing illegal things. If that was the case, if all it took was saying, oh, this is illegal, criminals don't do it, and criminals stop doing this, we wouldn't have a problem. We wouldn't have a problem with crime. Obviously, you don't have to do anything. Let me see, propaganda techniques. Okay, where is this website? See, this website is like really downvoted and just really well hidden, where it's not really available anymore because it's a really good website. Wait, you can't legislate morality? No, I know. Isn't it crazy? I thought that they would fix this. You know, you would think that they would know how to just fix everything. But for some reason, they can't just pass a law and then criminals just abide by it. Yeah, Google definitely buried it. It's a really good website, but it's not readily available. Let me see. Because it has everything. It's a really good website that has everything listed and fun little cartoons too. Hold on, it's in my notes. Miss the old internet, I know. Strict gun control in the 1930s, not exactly a non-violent place to be, pretty much run by the thugs. Yeah. Exactly. It's just... it's just so disturbing to see them be able to do this time and time again, where they can simply put this out there and somehow it wins. Somehow it wins. The internet died the day Alex Jones was banned. I know. I'm trying to see where it is. I have so many notes, so... because it's a really, really good source of just summarizing for people. Let me see if I can search. Oops. If I search for this, it might bring it up. Oh yeah, this is like heavily buried. Oh, this is like... This is like completely buried. If you don't know the exact name, well, they have the Southern Methodist propaganda analysis by Institute of Propaganda. That's the one. That's one source, but that's like a book, but there was a whole website about it. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not. Coming up. So I don't know exactly why. I'll find it, John. I'll find it and post it on all the pages. I'll find it after I get off of the live. But like I'll post it in the YouTube post, and then I'll do like my Twitter and everything else. So you can find it anywhere I'm there. It should be there. But it's strange to me why we're not prepared to deal with a straw man argument. They do it all of the time. And this is why I know this stuff is intentional. Like, we're intentionally set up to fail. Because the straw man argument is used ad nauseum. They use it all the time. But there's no articulation around what it is, how to combat it, why it works, why it doesn't work. There's nothing. There's nothing there for the average person. For the average person, they have no concept of what the straw man argument is or how it works. And so they fall for it every time, especially when you put just a regular elected official, like elected like representative or whatever his, I don't even know what title he was. That was just a snippet of the interview. When you put someone like that against an actual actor who's been on TV for 30 years plus, he's going to fall and he's going to look stupid. And so people are going to perceive it as, oh, he was wrong. John really proved a point. It's like, why do we do this? Yeah. Yeah, the way they chose to bury the website is telling. Yeah, it is strange how they buried it. I don't know why they did. Probably because it so succinctly summarizes all of this information. It does a really good job, and it does it in a really good way. So, I'll find it. It's all in my notes. And I have actually I actually downloaded the website offline. So, I have that internet archive sort of thing. But yeah, this is one of the first things, and I think you guys might agree with me or might not. Maybe you can let me know. If you're doing the rewatch, you can maybe put in the comments or something like that what you think. But I feel like the straw man is really the first type of argument that people need to understand how to combat when it comes to propaganda or dealing with these social engineering practice or deception manipulation practices. I think the straw man is it, because it works so many times and it works over and over again flawlessly. And you can look at the tells for the straw man argument, and if you just simply call it out, the thing about the straw man argument is it's so easy to defeat. All you have to do is say, hey, you're creating a straw man. Like, you didn't address my point. That's all you have to do. You have to say, hey, bring it back here. You didn't actually address what I was saying. You're deflecting. And then just keep doing that. And if they try to do it again, they construct another straw man, another straw man, another straw man. Instead of engaging with their argument, you just say, hey, that's not answering the question. Sorry. And you don't even have to do it in a combative way. You could just restate your argument. You could reframe it for them in a sense where you could give them another example. There's a lot of ways you could approach this problem when dealing with leftists and be able to maintain the argument and win. Because if they can't really justify it. It's, oh, you're protecting kids. Oh, you're protecting the children. Well, wait a second. You didn't protect them from skinning their knee when they ride bicycles. And it's like, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're discussing. And that's also not a solution. Sorry. Because it's just the whole thing about if we just take away illegal gun rights, or just take away gun rights in general, being the solution to stopping criminals from engaging in criminal behavior. Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to rewatch? Not going to work. So that is a good one that I think we all have to practice and be prepared for, because when we're in the heat of the argument, we're in this debate, it's a heavily charged emotional topic, we're not going to be thinking as clearly as possible, because again, when we're super emotional, our stress response, all of these things delay our ability and suppress our ability to use higher level thinking, okay, with that reactionary thought process, that reactionary behavior. Yeah, he should have asked about the gun laws in states where most kids are unalived by gun violence. He should address that. Exactly. But they never do that. They never ever do that. They never point out very obvious small things. Just like, for example, in Chicago, the state of Chicago has the most stringent, like they have the most insane gun laws. Insane. But is it working? Oh, that's right, because criminals just avoid. Yeah, I totally agree, John. America is the last bastion of freedom. It really is. Always goes Socratic. Oh, yes. Yes, we should have definitely a discussion about Socratic, those different methods, because people are, again, they're not familiar with that. And I would like to help people become familiar with these things, have the introduction to learn. It's okay if we don't understand them completely, or they're just sort of intuitive things that we sort of picked up over time, but it's good to understand actually how it's formed, like what are the substance of it. Oh, Inglourious Bastards, that's a good movie. Yeah, that's definitely a good movie. It's definitely a classic. I love bringing up Chicago. I am not ashamed of it. It's just such an example. It's such a brilliant example of the complete failure of legislating morality and like trying to control people's behavior through legislation. That's not going to work. They commit so many crimes. But they don't bring it up, and I wonder why they don't. Oh, because, I don't know, maybe because they don't have a model and a method and somebody to mimic in terms of influencers and other political talking heads. They don't have that. You have Michael Knowles over here trying to justify why our rights should be taken away temporarily. Oh, it's temporary, guys. Don't worry. It's temporary. Like, what the hell? It's ridiculous. Oh, yes, gun-free zones. Yes, gun-free zones work. They work as well. What's the problem? Yes, gun-free zones work. They work every time. You just put that little placard up and you're good to go. You're good to go. Okay. So yeah, we'll have more discussion on that straw man method. We should have a whole entire episode, I think, where we do like a video and a live, and maybe I'll put together some notes, something people can download. Because if we could learn practically how to deal with the straw man argument, we'd be able to topple like a good 60 to 70% of the leftist arguments and talking points and strategy. Like, we would be able to do that because they never argue the substance. It's always a straw man. It's always a straw man. They can't argue. Why do you need to do this? And the guy, of course, is not going to be quick on his feet to say, oh, well, it's the same reason we don't have kids go to strip clubs. That's their freedom of speech, too. Do you think bullets drop out of the air in gun-free zones? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. We know they do. Okay. I had one more clip I wanted to go over with you guys. It's just so embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing. All right. Oh, and here's a clip that I wanted to share with you guys, like an audio clip. Let me see if it will let me load it, because I made a screen recording of it. But this is from one of my favorite books. And we don't really cover like source material. There's not a huge amount of source material that people, reference when it comes to these topics. Let's see. Oh, I have to do the video. Hold on. Let me extract it out. But I would like to know, really, honestly, what your perception of why this straw man tactic just keeps perpetuating on and on and on. I would really like to know. Because to me it seems embarrassingly obvious that it should not work, and we should be able to counter it at some point. But it just keeps going on and on and on. Like, why? Like, I really want to understand people's perspective of why this keeps happening and why this is one of those simple moves where it's just like, okay, just quickly go ahead and debunk it. But they can't do it. It's like, what the heck? Like, why can't you just simply debunk this thing and just make it so it's impossible for them to keep doing this? Let's see. What is the... What did it say? Bullet-free zones. That's hilarious. But we'll definitely have to come back to that argument, that topic. So here is the audio I wanted to play for you guys. Just a little snippet. This little snippet of the audiobook. I don't think they'll hit me with copyright for this. Okay, yeah, I won't stream copyright, don't worry. Okay, here we go.
Diffuse forms of propaganda. Countries such as Italy and Argentina, which once had powerful propaganda systems, no longer use this weapon. Whatever the diversity of countries and methods, they have one characteristic in common: concern with effectiveness. Footnote: Goebbels said, "We do not talk to say something, but to obtain a certain effect." And F.C. Bartlett accurately states that the goal of propaganda is not to increase political understanding of events, but to obtain results through action. Propaganda is made, first of all, because of a will to action, for the purpose of effectively arming policy and giving irresistible power to its decisions. Footnote: Harold D. Laswell's definition of the goal of propaganda is...
Okay, so that little snippet, just to begin with, I want to reiterate that so many people lose sight of the fact that propaganda's goal is to achieve a result. And that's very important to talk about, because so many of us are invested in superficial things, ridiculous things, nonsensical things, it doesn't matter. All things to feed into our ego, essentially. When we talk about propaganda, the goal is always, and this is the book, I'll put it up, the goal is always to achieve the outcome, achieve the result. That is the main focus. So when I see people online, conservatives, just spouting all this rhetoric, spouting all this nonsense, being misogynistic, being like anti-gay, all of these things that they do, it's like, this is not going to help you achieve the result. Not that, okay, let's say that they are right, or, whatever they feel is correct. I don't care, that's irrelevant. The point is, they're not going to achieve the result that they're aiming for, which is for more people to willingly, not comply with the whole Great Reset, let's just say. Things like that. not comply with that, not go along with it. Say no, we do want to have private property, we do want to maintain our basic freedoms. That's the goal. So when you're doing things that completely counter that and make problems and make that are self-sabotaging, let's say, toward that goal, then you need to just stop doing it. That's the point of propaganda. It's like you need to stop doing it. They don't care. Here we go.
Diffuse forms of propaganda. Diffuse forms of propaganda. Countries such as Italy and Argentina, which once had powerful propaganda systems, no longer use this weapon. Whatever the diversity of countries and methods, they have one characteristic in common: concern with effectiveness.
Concern with
Footnote.
effectiveness.
Goebbels said, "We do not talk to say something, but to obtain a certain effect." And F.C. Bartlett accurately states that the goal of propaganda is not to increase political understanding of events, but to obtain results through action. Propaganda is made, first of all, because of a will to action, for the purpose of effectively arming policy and giving irresistible power to its decisions. Footnote. Harold D. Laswell's definition of the goal of propaganda is accurate: to maximize the power at home by subordinating groups and individuals while reducing the material cost of power. Similarly, in war, propaganda is an attempt to win victory with a minimum of physical expense. Before the war, propaganda is a substitute for physical violence. During the war, it is a supplement to it. Whoever handles this instrument can be concerned solely with effect.
So, you see, again, they keep reiterating that the goal is to the sole goal of propaganda is to achieve their desired outcome. So if you're doing things that will contradict, that will delay or sabotage that desired outcome, you need to stop doing it. I don't care how right it is or how much truth it is. It's like, oh, if every single woman on the planet turned out to be like a total hoe bag and, you know, these guys are just calling it out, that's not going to solve the problem. That's not going to achieve the result that you want, because they're going to continue what they're doing and also entrench even more in their negative behavior, because again, people don't like to be shamed. So this isn't me. This is the thing. And this is the conversation we need to have as adults. This isn't about the lower level impulses of what's right and wrong, or, you know, whether or not it's truthful or personal opinions on things. I don't care what people's personal opinions is, honestly. Like, it doesn't really affect me. I don't really care what your personal opinion is. I'm more concerned about achieving a certain goal. That's what I'm concerned about. And so when you bring that up to people, they don't really have that concept. They don't really understand what that means. They're so used to operating as this individual, they're so used to operating as individuals, as regular people, not as propagandists, which we need to translate over to. We need to start to take on these behaviors so we can be more effective as individuals in our, you know, collective spheres of influence, I would say. So it's a whole other view. It is a whole other mindset that you have to take on, which is why it's so important to understand how propagandists work, how they are able to achieve their outcomes without sacrificing anything in their end goal. Yeah, they might have temporary delays. They might have to adjust their language, adjust their messaging. But at the end of the day, they always achieve their goals, the objectives that they set forth. Let's see. Where's the comment? Oh, yeah. He who must win every argument seldom persuades anyone. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And conservatives don't know how to meet reality on its own terms. A lot of the time they don't. They don't want to deal. They live in their own fantasy just like leftists do, unfortunately. Oh yeah, great point. Honest people have a hard time believing there can be dishonest people with evil intent. I know. Well, we have to break out of that. I don't care. You have to break out of it at some point. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. So that's even more. We can go down the rabbit hole with that and discuss all of that more in depth on how we can start to help people approach and shift their mindset over into the propagandist mindset rather than the target or just the masses. How to switch over, because we have to collectively push back to whatever agendas that are coming up, but unfortunately we don't have the mindset in order to achieve that goal. We don't know how to push back, especially in a psychological operation at this magnitude. And it's true, people don't know how to relate, they don't understand. This model of behavior has never been given to them. Oh, those people need to do some shadow work, be a warrior in the garden. Well, that is the devil, so not gonna do that. I'm just kidding. Okay, before we jump off of here, I wanted to share one more article that I thought was just amazing, just perfect in every way. Now, I hope this is motivating to you. I hope you can take this information back and think about it throughout the week. Try to relate it to other people, tell them they need to get into a different mindset, try to help people understand and open them up to these new concepts. So I hope that can happen, because it really needs to happen. But let's look at this last article where, let's see, the AP News. Love them, love everything they say. Ice is appearing everywhere, from ice drinks to ice sculptures, all at once. While the ice trend is mostly about harmless fun, the growing prevalence of drought and water insecurity point to a future where ice will be an ever greater premium. How ice is turning into an exotic and luxurious commodity. It's just like they're preparing everyone. They're literally preparing everyone to be in this perpetual state of lack, perpetual state of insecurity, perpetual state, like never addressing what is the actual problem and how can we begin to fix it. It's just preparing people to understand that they will be suffering. There will be blood. There will be suffering. That we'll have these insecurities, and there's nothing we can do, and we just have to, get ready for it. Get ready for it. It's happening. So this is definitely an example of propaganda. It might seem like it's legitimate. I mean, there's water insecurity, sure. All of these things might make sense, but this, in fact, is a very powerful form of propaganda, because it's priming you, it's preparing you to accept this is an inevitability, this is something that will happen, please prepare. Oh my God. Oh, great question. What can be done about elites buying up the many forms of mainstream media to create propaganda monopoly? Well, what can be done is people actually countering their media, countering the media narrative in their own sphere of influence. I can't come up with anything else, because I don't see any, like, I mean, sure, you could create a parallel media. I mean, what I'm doing right now, I'm online speaking to people, creating media, if anyone chooses to listen. That's one thing, but it's not going to be obviously as impactful as one-to-one, in-person, debating, conversation, so on and so forth. So that is, I would say, the first line of defense, where someone is heavily propagandized. Let's say they have this idea that everything's evil, and we're inevitably going to have water insecurity, and we won't have water, and we won't have ice. You could just say to them, that's not necessarily true. There are solutions to these things, and here are the solutions. So you can start to work from there. But more and more the mainstream is losing faith. People have already lost faith. That's why I say I'm a MAGA fangirl, because before MAGA, there was no fake news. There was no concept that the news was just propaganda. It was all fake. That was not there. And I think from a marketing standpoint, that was a huge win. It was a huge win. So it's up to us. That's why I talk about these different techniques and talk about all these strategies, so that we can take them back. So that we can take them back and better utilize them, you know? And work for good. Yes, we definitely need to work for good. We need to put that work in, each and every one of us. We don't all have to be social media influencers or whatever, but we have a sphere of influence, and it is a very real one, and we need to learn how to be as efficient and effective as possible in that sphere of influence. Oh, don't tell anybody, but here in Wisconsin, there's water in the ground. You just have to drill a well for it. No, we can't do that. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. Okay, guys. I hope this episode was motivating. I tried to be motivating. I tried to touch on some funny things, but we did get into some really good topics along the lines of actual strategies, actual things that we can do, start to explore, particularly, understanding the straw man argument and learning how to distinguish it or detect it and actually counter it effectively as possible. And then we also see, how they prime things for people, and just simply understanding what propaganda really is and how we need to adopt that mindset, so we understand, oh, it's not about how I feel about things, it's about what will be the most effective to achieve my objective. That's it. That's all it is. All right, so I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna do some skits, record some skits, and get to recording some more content for you guys. But I really appreciate you joining the live, and I had a great conversation with all of you. And let me know in the comments below what you think of any of these topics, or any practical strategies you could see people implementing. So I'll be on here again soon. I'll definitely be on here on Thursday for a propaganda review, so we can go through what's happened during the week. Skits for the channel. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do some skits for social media for the channel, and more in-depth just discussions. I think it's funny. So I will be on here Thursday for sure, but I might do another live in between. You never know. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Thanks.